The topic for Open Heaven Devotional April 5, 2026 is Share the Good News too. Memory verse, Book of Psalms chapter 40 verse 9. I have preached righteousness in the great congregation, lo, I have not refrained my lips, O Lord, thou knowest. Bible reading, 2nd Book of Kings chapter 7 verse 3 to 16. 3. And there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? 4. If we say, We will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there, and if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. 5. And they rose up in the twilight, to go unto the camp of the Syrians, and when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. 6. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host, and they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites, and the kings of the Egyptians, to come upon us. 7. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents, and their horses, and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. 8. And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver, and gold, and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. 9. Then they said one to another, We do not well, this day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. 10. So they came and called unto the porter of the city, and they told them, saying, We came to the camp of the Syrians, and, behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied, and asses tied, and the tents as they were. 11. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. 12. And the king arose in the night, and said unto his servants, I will now shew you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we be hungry, therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, When they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive, and get into the city. 13. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as all the multitude of Israel that are left in it. Behold, I say, they are even as all the multitude of the Israelites that are consumed, and let us send and see. 14. They took therefore 2 chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of the Syrians, saying, Go and see. 15. And they went after them unto Jordan, and, lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels, which the Syrians had cast away in their haste. And the messengers returned, and told the king. 16. And the people went out, and spoiled the tents of the Syrians. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. Message for today. Today's Bible reading tells us about how 4 leprous men rescued an entire city from its terrible economic situation. Before then, there had been a severe famine in Samaria for a prolonged time, and things got so bad that mothers began to eat their children. 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 26 to 29. After a while, Elisha, God's servant, proclaimed God's word that things would change for good the very next day. Unaware of the prophetic word from the mouth of God's servant, the 4 lepers, who lived outside the city gates, decided to take a bold step to go into the enemy's camp. Their action paid off because God had caused the enemy soldiers to flee from their camp because they heard what sounded like a mighty army marching towards them. When the lepers entered the enemy's camp, they found out that all the soldiers had fled and had left behind all their food and other supplies. They were amazed, and they ate, drank, gathered silver, gold, and other precious items. However, after a while, they stopped and questioned their selfishness. Then they said one to another, We do not well, this day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. 2 Kings chapter 7 verse 9. The lepers knew that it was a day of good tidings, so they refused to keep the good news to themselves. They reported their discovery to the king's household, and that was how God's word about a miraculous turnaround in the economic situation of the city came to pass the very next day. If you are a Christian, then you know that today is a day of good tidings. Jesus died and resurrected to bring us into a new day. Book of Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 31 tells us about the days when God will make a new covenant with his people. These are the days of that new covenant, the days of God's grace and victory over the nature of sin. If you are not sharing this good news and telling others about the wonderful works of God, you are denying them the opportunity of enjoying God's blessings. Beloved, God has saved you from Satan's bondage and freed you from his burdens. One way to appreciate him for this is to become a habitual testifier of his goodness. Do not keep the good news of Christ's redemption to yourself. Happy Easter. Action point. Tell at least one person about how Jesus saved you today. Bible in 1 year. 2 Samuel chapter 14 to 16. Hymn 12, Onward Christian Soldiers. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.